Hey, everybody, it's Sunday morning. We're glad you made it. It's going to be a great show. I got Korey Davis, karKast, and I got Murph in the house. So, you guys stick around. We'll see how long we can keep Murphy. As long as he's behaving and isn't too fussy, he's going to be here for the show. Shout out to Bebop, our guy, our friend of the panel, our overall just 49er fan. He's a great guy. So shout out to you guys, and let's go ahead and get started. How's everybody's Sunday morning turning out?
Oh, it's good. It's turning good right now. You know, I ain't even finished last night. I finished up weeks two trivia um thing. I got it already. Well, I don't have the questions yet. That's the only thing I have to do is put the question on the banners.
Yeah, man, Brian, I'm doing well today. Thank you for having me on. Good Sunday morning. Excited to be on the Bryant Co-op Morning Coffee Talk, man. Let's get the show started.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it. So today is one of those fun shows. We're going to look at some pictures. We're going to get some thoughts and some feelings. Drink a coffee, maybe say a joke or two. Because again, we don't want to. I don't know. We're 49er fans, and sometimes it's hard to laugh at yourself, but sometimes it's good to go back and reflect at certain things that's happened and get out those emotions and sometimes thoughts that maybe you've already said it, but again, sometimes it doesn't hurt to say it again. So, hey, shout out to everybody in the chat. We got 187. Again, we got Bebop, John J. We have Crazy Juice. Man, the chat is just popping. We really appreciate you guys. And there's a link if anybody wants to jump on. We got a lot of good people. And again, we just keep it respectable, and we go from there. So today's idea, right? I pulled had some pictures from epic moments in 49ers history. So let's get into this real quick, because something kind of bothered me the other day. First off, I like to research things and look at things to see, what might be a good topic to talk about, or go from there, a good conversation starter. So I was looking up, the days that training camp's coming up, and it starts here. It's going to start in July the 18th. The rookies are coming to camp, and then after that, July 25th, the vets are coming in. So I'm looking to see about trying to head over there to see some of the practices and stuff. And as I'm looking at it, I'm reading an article that says Kyle Shanahan, the 49ers coach, has expressed that the Niners have retired too many numbers. And I kind of thought, okay, well, where is he going with this? Oh, well, there's too many guys on the field that have to wear multiple numbers. And sometimes they're playing on defense and they're playing on offense. Like the number 4 jersey right here. Currently, I believe Jake Moody has it and Brandon Allen has the number 4 jersey. I could be wrong, but there's more than one player out there right now currently wearing the same jersey number. And, once cuts happen and stuff, and, there's going to be players that's going to change their number. They're going to keep their number. It's happened before. Like last year, we had Brock Purdy wearing 14, and he ended up wearing 13 through the season. So I get it. There's sometimes there has to be manipulations, and there has to be moments where you can say, hey, there was a reason, though. There's a reason this guy's number has been retired. And I don't know if I'm taking like a slight to it or just look at it in a bad light, because we haven't won anything since 29 years ago, 28 years ago. Okay. All these players that's come onto our team really haven't contributed in that sense. They put up some victories. We've gotten some playoffs. We've gotten memories. We're emotional. We're fans of the team. But to say this guy doesn't deserve his number, or maybe there's too many guys' numbers that's been retired. Okay, I get your point, because you're irritated that we can't put a number on that guy, and you have to double check your notebook to see if there's somebody else wearing that number. I understand that can be confusing, but the reason you retire a number is to show tribute and to show, the person who wore that number was significant at his position at the time for the franchise. It's not necessarily even they were the best player at that position. They were the best player for the 49ers. They were what we needed. So for us, we show them tribute and we've said, hey, we're not going to let anybody wear your number. No one can wear your number unless you ask for it. They say, hey, John Brody, can I wear your number? There's been times like that where a player will say, hey, I really want to wear that number. And they'll ask one of the 49ers who's retired their number. We'll go to Trent Dilfer, for example, and John Brody. Trent Dilfer wore number 12, and it was retired in San Francisco. So when he comes on, I'm going to bring in David real quick. Good morning, David.
Good morning.
So we're talking about the statement Kyle Shanahan said being there's too many 49er jerseys that are retired. And he's having a hard time because some of the numbers, like number 4, has to be doubled up on the offense or defense, and it's getting confusing for him. Well, there's only 53 guys that can be on the team at one time, so there's only going to be so many numbers. And once cuts happen and stuff, people are going to start loosening up, and their numbers are going to be different, or there won't be so many multiples out there. And with them adding 0 now, I just don't see this being that big of a deal. And my little rant is Kyle Shanahan, you haven't won anything. So you don't deserve to get your number or your name retired. When your name's retired and it goes into the Ring of Honor, do you want somebody saying, oh, there's too many coaches up there, we need to take one down to make room for the next coach? I don't think it works that way. I really, truly don't. So I have a picture right here. And if you guys have any thoughts or want to get into this, well, we're definitely going to get into it. But I have a little picture of all the Niners that's been retired. And real quick, to get back to what I was saying, John Brody asked, John Brody was our 49er quarterback from the 60s to 70s. He retired. His number got retired, number 12. Trent Dilfer came to our team. And when he came to our team, he asked John Brody personally if I can wear your number. And he said, yeah. He did it in honor, and he got to wear it. So if there is an issue where you really want to wear that number 80 jersey, then you have to talk to the GOAT. You got to get that guy's permission. They got it retired for a reason. So not in order, but in numerical order, we have Steve Young, John Brody, Joe can't talk this morning. Oh my gosh. Let's get a drink of coffee, everybody. Thank you for coming, and to wet that whistle. All right. So we're going to start at the beginning because I don't want to sound bad like that. Steve Young, John Brody, Joe Montana, Joe Perry, Jimmy Johnson, Hugh McEnany, Ronnie Lott, Charlie Kruger, Leo Nominelli, Bob St. Clair, Jerry Rice, and Dwight Clark. These are our guys that we have said, hey, you were significant on the team. Shout out to you, Korey. You were significant on the team, and we're going to honor you. And again, if somebody wants to wear that number, I'm sure they just have to come and ask. And if you really want to be like, no, you can't wear my number, well, that's your choice. I totally respect that. You helped this team get to where we are now. And if anybody's coming in that's joining the team, they have to kind of form. You have to form into the team. You have to comply, right? So it's like, the grandkids don't make the rules. They have to listen to the rules. When they get to a certain point, then they can change the rules. So that's kind of my thoughts. What's your guys' thoughts on the Kyle Shanahan statement? There's too many jersey numbers retired. Let's start with you, Korey.
I was eating on camera. I thought my camera's off. I kind of agree with his statement. It is too many of the numbers that retired.
Yep.
Because we should have just retired the person, not the number. I know it's to honor that player number. I understand that, but when it comes down to it, now you got. I remember back in the days, you knew if the person were 87 or 80, they was a receiver. You knew that.
Yeah.
You knew certain numbers, what their position was. Like you knew if they wore 20s, 21, or they was either a defensive back or running back. You know, if they were from 1 to 19, they was a quarterback. And now you got all these people with different numbers with wearing number 12 as a wide receiver, number 13, number 1, and number 10, and all that for a wide receiver. So now these days you can't tell who's the wide receiver, who who's the defense back. So I gotta agree with Kyle. We got too many numbers being retired. We should just retire the person, put his picture up there on the Hall of Fame.
All right, I can see that. I like that mentality. Let's throw it to David real quick. What do you think, David? What's your mentality? What's your thoughts on retired numbers? And do we have too many retired? These are the ones that we have currently retired.
A team with the legacy we have is going to have quite a few retired numbers. And I mean, there's only 12 and, out of available 100, now 101, now you can use 0. So I honestly don't think that it's a big deal, I think Kyle Shanahan, I honestly don't know why he would even say anything like that, Probably because, I bet players come in and go, oh, yeah, this number's retired. I got to go with this one. Or, I bet that happens. But, it's only 12 numbers out of 101. You have, 89 numbers to choose from. So, and now, now that they can pick any number they want, it doesn't really matter. You still have 89 numbers.
Yeah, you got 90-man roster before cuts happen, and you got 89 numbers you can choose from. I don't really see this being an issue. I see, I understand this point. It could be irritating, but I don't see it being an issue.
You know what team don't retire their numbers?
What's that?
They just retire their players. The Cowboys.
Oh, they don't retire numbers?
Cowboys don't retire their numbers. Mm-mm. That's why you see Michael Irvin's jersey out there wearing other players wearing Michael Irvin's jersey 88. Because they don't retire numbers. They just retire the player. They just put their name up there on the Hall of Fame.
Well, what's your thoughts, karKast? I know you're a little younger than us.
What Cal?
Sorry. Go ahead, Korey.
I agree with Cal because you got players that now wear double-digit numbers, and they can't be on the field at the same time. So you can't have two number 36 out there. So now you have to choose which one can go out there. So you can't put, if they play in special teams, you can't have them both out there to try on special teams because they can't be on the same field at the same time. That's where it becomes a problem.
Yeah. I know Brian's gone for a quick minute, but I just wanted to chime in. I think David McNiner and both Korey makes a good point. I don't know why Kyle Shanahan would come out and say this. Maybe his ego's catching up to him because you don't suck to be in the Hall of Fame, to have your jersey number retired. We obviously got guys like Joe Montana, Steve Young, John Burke, all these guys because they did something significant for the team. They won a championships. They put us in a position to win. That's why we're 5-time Super Bowl champions. There's a reason why their jersey numbers are retired. But Korey also makes a great point. You see now the NFL coming up with you can wear number 1. Change a lot of rules. Some guys are requesting to wear number 0. So really, and you don't see what wide receivers, all these guys wear those kind of numbers. It's usually quarterbacks. So they're really just picking numbers from all throughout the yard. And I get where Kyle's coming from, but at the same time, I don't know why he would come out and say this. It's not like he's a good coach, man, but like, what have you done? 3 NFC championship games in the last 3 years, and you haven't won anything since 2017? I don't get it, but I get where you guys are coming from. So at the same time, I get what Kyle's saying, but also it's something in my mind. Thanks. Why would he come out and say this? So
Well, I understand what Corey's saying, and that might be a good way about going about it. But I think too, at the time when they were deciding to retire numbers, and maybe there's a cap on it now. Maybe they're saying no other number is going to be retired at this point. I can tell you for a fact the number 8 is the only number ever worn by a quarterback, Steve Young. He'll be the only 49er quarterback to ever player in 49ers history to wear that number. At this point, unless he relinquishes and says someone else can wear his number, he's the only Niner in history to wear 8. I can't imagine seeing another 16 out there. Although when we did have that jersey show a couple of months ago, there has been multiple 16s, but since Montana's wore it, we're not going to see another 16 out there. It's got to be really, really crazy. The John Brody thing, that was a big surprise to me. Joe Perry, McNelly, I can't pronounce his name, so sorry. That's part of our $1 million backfield right there. That's not happening. They're not changing that. Johnson, Lott cut his finger off. We know that. Kruger, shout out to Pig in the Pickle, no relation. Nominelli, it's a really good guy. Same thing. St. Clair, Rice. No one's wearing Rice's number. For Rice to leave the Niners, go to Raiders, he wore 80. He went to Seattle, he wore 80. He would have wore 80 in Denver, but he was being too nice of a guy and decided to, go with the number 19. He only played in preseason. So I don't know if you guys want to count that or not, but to me, when I see 80, I always think it don't matter who's wearing 80. I think of Jerry Rice. So just going through the chat real quick, I agree. If you ask for 80 on the 49ers team, you got to, they're going to look at you, like, who do you think you are? You're going to ask for 80. You better be able to run that mountain or that hill like double the time, right? Shout out to everybody in the chat again. Always faithful 247. Hey, first time I know I've been to your channel. Appreciate you coming through here. If you like, give everybody a like and subscribe on the panel. We appreciate it. Just trying to get a bigger community and, enjoy, talking 49ers. Maybe we can get you on one day too. Shout out to Ty Austin. We will be talking with Ty tomorrow on Monday night. Everybody tune in. David and me will have a great interview with a great friend like Ty Austin. So let me drop the picture down real quick so we can see our faces again, because that's always nice. With those numbers, we only have 12 that's really, again, we only have 12 that's been retired. And David brings up a good point. There's still like 89 numbers out there that they can wear. So if it's that hard to, look at a piece of paper and say, oh, yeah, they're on our team. No. Or, oh, yeah, he's a wide receiver. Or, oh, he's a special teamer. I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know. 90 people, memorizing 90 different names. That can be challenging. But some of those guys you should already know, like, because they're coming from last year's team. So, I understand, maybe his upset, feelings or his frustration, during that. But I just. Some things you got to eat, if now is he going to tell us he's too, frustrated or we have too many Lombardis in the case, because he doesn't have one there yet. So when we get one, we're going to have to move those other 5 out of the way. I don't think it works like that either. Again, you guys kind of all said it. When you have a team like the 49ers that has the history that we have, it's kind of hard to tell people to get out of the way or, give up that number. So, again, I like what Corey said, maybe retire the player's name, but then I don't know, that's not really, that's just saying that your name and your face is going to be on the wall forever. That's cool. But if there's another person that comes in that's named Steve Young, they're going to draft him if he's a good player. They just might not give him 8. That would actually be funny if there was another Steve Young coming in. When we were talking about like Lamar Jackson possibly getting traded to the Niners, I threw it out to Lawrence. Shout out to Lawrence. He's in the chat right now. And if you guys don't know about Platform 246, please check him out. He's got a great channel as well. But I was telling him, if they come in, Steve Young might let Jackson wear 8, and a platform here, Lawrence Jackson. I said, you'd have like a personalized jersey. And he told me, no, they're not going to, and no, Steve Young is not giving up his jersey. And he makes a really good point because I don't see it happening either. Steve Young's a nice guy. And I think if somebody came to him, made it public, yeah, he would say, yeah, I'll let you do it. But I think he's going to squinge a little bit. I kind of would, just that's not what I want to see, but all right. So, guys, there's been moments in history and stuff with the 49ers that, has built the franchise. That's, real quick, let me show you guys this. This is our $1 million backfield. I know with Korey's trivia questions and stuff, some of these questions and stuff like that have gotten moved around and we haven't been able to, we've answered them correctly. And then there's been times where we haven't. So the $1 million backfield had Y.A. Tittle, had our halfback or fullback, we had Joe Perry, who's a fullback. We have Hugh McNally, who's a halfback, and we had John H. Johnson, halfback. So these are 2 running backs, 35 and 39. 35 is not retired, but 39 and 34 are. 14 is not retired either. And if you guys notice, it's kind of cool. They got red helmets. The Niners did have at one time red helmets. So is interesting. We had red helmets, silver helmets, and we've had gold helmets. So definitely got a long franchise. We don't jump around with our uniforms too much. We don't get too crazy there, but it's definitely something to say. All right, so we're going to get into this. I know you guys have all seen this picture, and I wasn't necessarily alive for this picture, but I can tell you this basically started the franchise or give it a new birth, right? Because we'd already been a franchise for quite some time at this time. But this was this is a pinnacle point. This is a turning point. You guys all know this picture. If you don't know this picture, then please give Korey your fan card right now. This is the catch. This is the moment, and this is Dwight Clark. His number is retired. I wonder why his number is retired. This is the catch 2. And T.O. is the man. He caught the ball. He was given the ball or thrown the ball many times during this game, and he just kept dropping it. Steve Young went to him one more time in the end zone at the end of the game. I think it was like a 3rd down play, and there was like 8 seconds left or something. And he nails the end zone, nails T.O. in the chest. Should have never throw at wide receiver's chest. Throw it where their hands could catch it. But he threw it right there at his chest, and he was able to hold on to it. And two Packers right here definitely tried to pack him in. And it's just one of those things. It's like, all right. He held on to the ball. And this was the moment that the Niners finally beat the Packers in the playoffs in the 90s. And we got that little monkey off our back. And, it's one of those things. If injuries wouldn't have happened the following years, the team was moving forward. This was that moment. We finally got past the Cowboys, and the Packers had finally got past the Cowboys, and now the Packers were that thorn in our side or our foot, and we finally got that thorn out. And this is the moment it happened. This is the moment T.O. became a man. This is the catch 3. I think you guys have seen this one before as well. And I would have to say this is another man moment. This is a moment where Vernon Davis was able to catch the ball. He also was throwing the ball towards his chest. He used his hands as well to catch it. Again, when you throw the ball at someone's chest, sometimes it bounces off because of the chest pads. But this moment right here, he also got nailed. And this is the early moment. I believe he also got nailed like T.O. did. 2 Saint players coming in trying to pack him. And it's just one of those things. He held on to the ball, and he helped Alex Smith at the time beat the Saints to move on in the playoffs. And it was one of those moments I'll probably never forget, because the way the game was going back and forth, there was a chance we were going to lose that game.
Yeah.
Okay. So guys, before I get into this one's let me tell everybody, I'm sorry, guys. We're going to get into some of the moments in 49er history that aren't the easiest ever to talk about. So you look at it, and, if pictures you don't want to see, I understand, it's not always this disturbing or this emotional Saturday mornings or Sunday mornings. We just like to drink a cup of coffee. But, you had those great moments in history, and those are probably the 3 greatest moments in 49er history. Catch 1, 2, and 3. These moments probably are the moments that we don't want to talk about. So, again, if you guys don't want to see it, I'm sorry. Don't hit the dislike button. Don't unsubscribe. Come back next week or come back in a little bit. So, this is the moment. David, do you know what we're looking at?
When Roger Craig fumbled against the Giants.
Yep. This is the moment that cost us the 3-peat. This is probably what's holding him out of the Hall of Fame. And again, I'm not somebody who can vote for the Hall of Fame like that or has a say, but I definitely think Roger Craig deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. First 1,000-yard receiver, rushing, has multiple Super Bowl rings for the Niners. He was a great player. Number 33, too. Number 33 is not retired. So, I don't know. I think Roger Craig deserves a gold jacket. And I just think this is one of those moments we don't want to look at too long. So we're going to go ahead and move off of it. Korey, do you have any thoughts on Roger Craig here before we move?
Yeah, I didn't like that play. I was so mad. I was like, oh, God damn it. The man fumbled the ball at the wrong moment. I was like so mad. So I was looking forward to beating the Giants.
Yeah.
They won. I was like, oh, damn it.
And they went off of a field goal. It was a field goal.
And I'm mad too because he deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. This is one fumble shouldn't keep him out because we had Brett Favre in the Hall of Fame and he threw so many interceptions. So because of one fumble, this man should not be yelled out.
Agree. He did more than just fumble. This wasn't the only thing he did on the football field. This was a pinnacle point in 49ers history. This is definitely one of those moments we don't want to. This isn't the moment that we want to define Roger Craig's career, but this is definitely something that's holding him back. karKast, do you have any thoughts before we move to the next picture?
Yeah, so this was in the NFC Championship game in 1991 against the Giants. It's sad, man, because, obviously, like you and Korey were talking about, this obviously doesn't define his entire career with the Niners. He's done a lot more. Did it all for the Niners, So I don't think this should hold him back. This one play, Brett Favre, threw a ton of picks with the Packers. He's still in the Hall of Fame. So, one play shouldn't define a player's career, in my opinion. So it's sad to see, but, is what it is, but he's still a great player in my mind, and he should be in the Hall of Fame.
Well, we're going to jump out of this time in history. We're going to move up a little bit closer to the current time, and I want your guys' thoughts and opinions on this picture. Again, these are moments in time that's maybe older and maybe a little bit fresher, but the wound's still there, and it's one of those things. It's good to sometimes get your thoughts out and talk about it, and sometimes it should just bury it, right? Let's just bury it. But this moment, again, I don't think this is the worst moment in Niners history, but this definitely was a defining moment. It's kind of hard to say if he doesn't catch this ball, we don't go to the Super Bowl. What do you think, David?
Well, I can't blame it all on him because even if he catches that, we don't know if our offense would have moved the ball, but that would have took 7 points off the board because they scored on that drive.
Yeah.
And And honestly, I think this is the reason why we moved on from Tart. Is we need someone that's actually going to hold on to the ball in that situation. But yeah, I mean, it was a pivotal play, but there's a whole bunch of other plays that also went wrong that if went right, could have changed the outcome.
Yeah. We definitely we don't know what would have happened afterwards because they could have scored really quick afterwards or whatnot, but we were winning the game at this point, and we would have taken over, I believe, in field goal range or close to midfield. It's really hard to see Robbie Gould not knock another field goal in. And yeah, what's your thoughts, karKast?
Yeah, man. It's tough, man, against the Rams. I don't know what it was. Maybe he just took his eyes off the ball, but I don't think it was entirely Tart's fault. And that's another reason why we probably moved on from Tart. Yeah, it just right to his chest, just dropped it. It's still a tough pill to swallow, but it wasn't entirely Tart's fault because, like David said, who knows if Jimmy G and this offense would have moved on the field in the next drive. They scored with the Cooper Cup touchdown. They went up. We were leading, so this would have put us in a drive to have an extra possession, try to score, but we still had time at the end. And even guys like Fred Warner, they were all saying to Tart, "It's not your fault, man. We still had an opportunity. There was several bad mistakes that put us in this position, and we all know how that game ended up. So it wasn't entirely Tar's fault. Tar was a great player for us, but it was costly, man. And I know he probably still has that in his mind, but it wasn't entirely Tart's fault in my mind. But it's still a tough pill to swallow.
Well, we're having a good time. Definitely having a lot of good time.
What about me?
Well, I'm going to pass it to you, Korey. It's hard. It's hard to get over some moments in time, And Tart could have definitely caught it or dropped it. What's your thoughts, Korey?
Yeah, I was so mad at that play, and I did blame it on Tart. But I know he probably took his eyes. He was looking like, "Ooh, I could go get a touchdown." Ooh, he'll probably think of a bigger play he can make with the ball in his hand, and he miscalculated. But it happens, and who knows what would have happened after that, And yes, you can't blame it all on Tart. There's other plays that could have happened for us to win that game. See that picture right there? It looked like he's not looking at the ball. He's looking elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
The one on
Yes.
the one on the left, I think, is on my left.
Yeah, it looks like he's looking right in front of him, and the ball's near his right shoulder. So.
Yep. He took his eyes off the ball. He sure did.
Yeah.
And I think he jumped up too early for it. I
Yeah.
think he jumped up too early for it, and he didn't let it come to him. And then when he thought, "Oh, I got it," it got away from him.
Yeah, I think he went more toward the ball than to let the ball try to come toward him. Yep.
All right, so let's get into the ugly picture. This is a picture everybody's going to probably hate me for the rest of the day, but I got to do it. I got to do it. I got to do it because I'm still mad.
Okay.
You don't have to say his name if you don't want to, but this moment in time, we could have went to the Super Bowl. We could have went to the Super Bowl. We were that Cinderella team. We had everything going for us. We had the world against us, not believing in us. Brand new coach. Everything's going in the right direction, and you fumbled twice. I don't hate you, but definitely not happy that you did that. It's one of those things, first time, okay, I can forgive you. The second time, man, dude, like, and it's sad because he got death threats, and a lot of people are still attacking him and going on. So again, I don't want to attack him. I don't want to put him down. I'm just a little disappointed. This definitely is one of those pinnacle points in 49er history that I don't think too many of us is over. Does anybody have anything that they'd like to say about Mr. Williams?
Yeah, he's another player that I got pissed at this. Really, I really did. I was like, oh man, this could have won us the game. All you had to do, I was like saying, you had one job. One job is to hold on to that ball. Oh,
He was a 7th round pick, right? And by the current concussion protocol standards in the league, I don't think he would have been playing in this game, because he had a concussion issue, and we didn't have much depth at wide receiver on that team. It was like Randy Moss, Crabtree. We had Josh Morgan, but the guy he couldn't never stay on the field. He was a good receiver, but staying on the field was his issue. And then, like the prior weeks coming up, but he got a concussion, and I honestly believe he was rushed out there and he wasn't 100% right, but it's a who knows at this point. I've always said Kyle Williams, Giants legend, but I'm just joking when I say that. But at the same time, yeah, that cost us the game, because they went right in and scored, after that. And it should have been us versus the Patriots, which who knows what would have happened there.
Yeah. Yeah. karKast, you got anything on this moment? Were you able to see this moment live, or?
I didn't see it live.
Young.
Yeah,
Kinda young.
I've just heard about it. It's tough when that happens. Like Korey said, just catch the ball, and then, they scored, had the game-winning field goal. So, yeah, it's tough. It's really tough, but, yeah. So that's all I have to say about that.
All right. Well, again, I don't want to make everybody upset the whole day, because that definitely was one of those moments in time that, burn the stage, shake the candlestick dirt, shout out Bex, Maddie B. It's one of those things. It's like you get so close, and you're invested because you're a fan and stuff like that. But people make mistakes. That's why they play the game, So, yeah. All right. So let's get into this one. I think this one's going to make everybody feel a little bit better, and then we'll have another one that's not so nice. Because we've had ups and downs in this franchise. We've had a lot of iconic moments, and moments that, when you're a franchise with 5 Super Bowls and you've been to 7 Super Bowls, there's a reason for that. So I'm going to do this one. This isn't a funny moment. This is actually a bad moment. So we're going to say this one, and then we'll get into a funny one right after this, because this is probably my worst picture. This is the moment in time that I really got sick. I got sick to my stomach when I seen him on the ground. I truly cried. I was a little boy, my dad, he probably knew exactly what had happened. And after that, he had the press conference, and, from there, he came out real quick and he said, he's not going to be playing football anymore. The concussions have gotten to a point where, he can't play. And it's one of those moments. It's like, you don't know what would have happened if he would have played a little longer, we could have maybe won another Super Bowl. Again, we just beat Brett Favre. The Falcons, they were up and coming, but we should have beat the Falcons if it wouldn't have been for Garrison Hurst's foot, and that again, or his ankle. It's one of those moments, you can't prevent injuries. You can get upset about it, but you can't prevent injuries. It's the same thing with any job. You walk to work, or you get in your car and drive somewhere, and you just don't know. That's why you should, again, give your loved ones a hug and kiss and tell them how much you love them. And if you are religious, pray, and start the day out the right way, because you're not guaranteed tomorrow. So with that game, Steve Young got hit. It was a Cardinals player. I think it was Aeneas Williams, and he ended up Steve Young's career. And there's been multiple players on the team. I was reading the article today. I think Steve Young, he doesn't blame anyone. I don't believe he blames anyone. But the guard the tackle that missed the block, he definitely has regrets. T.O. has regrets. I believe T.O. believes he could have done something better. And I don't know if he could have blocked something, but T.O.'s made statements too. He should have done better. So it's one of those moments. So thank you, platform. It was Williams. So again, Steve Young's like my favorite 49er of all time. And I'm sorry, Ty, I don't mean to be killing everybody, but let's get into a better picture, one that might make everybody laugh. Again, just going through some times in 49ers history that, some are good and some are bad, and hopefully some will be able to relive or live in a different way, right? I don't want to ever relive this, but if I see it happen to another team, and we're playing that team, hey, shout out to Jimmy and Dan Orlowski, right? I don't see this happening to another quarterback anytime soon, but you definitely made history. What is it a 2-point conversion? Safety? Is it a pick six? We'll never know, because it was negated, right? There's a penalty or whatnot, or I don't know.
Yeah, I was so happy to see that it was safety's touchdown. I was like, oh, good, he stepped out. It's a safety, not a touchdown.
Yeah. It's like, dude, come on, man. You should definitely know where the back of the end zone is when you're that close. It happens. It's happened before. Punters have done it, and other players have done it. So, but for it to happen to the 49ers, and it's not what we want to see. So, all right, guys, let's get into this a little bit deeper. This moment, not happy to see this moment at all. I'm glad to see he's still standing and he's still on the team, and hope that everything turns out okay for him. Same thing with this guy here. I'm glad he's on the way up. He's cleared to play. He's going to be practicing, and here soon. It's what, July 18th. They'll be there. Well, he's a veteran, so he'll be there probably July 25th. So I think that's interesting too. We'll see who shows up July 18th. Even though you're not responsible or required to show up the 18th, what vets are showing up early? You show up early and you practice together. You gel as a team. This right here, I think, was something hard to stomach as well. This is the turning point for the Harbaugh era. This is where Alex Smith got hurt. Kaepernick comes in, and do you guys know what happened after Kaepernick came in? Do you know who won or lost?
I believe we won that game.
Yeah.
And Alex Smith was going to be out for a few weeks, so then they decided to roll with Colin Kaepernick. Well, I think a lot of the reason was Greg Roman was our offensive coordinator, and he likes running a college style offense, and Colin Kaepernick fit it better than Alex Smith did.
karKast, I got David and I got Korey's. They're answered. Can I get your answer? Did we win or did we lose against the Rams when Kaepernick came in to finish the game?
You're asking if we did win or did we lose?
Yeah, this is the game when Harbaugh was a coach and Alex Smith got hurt. He suffered a concussion, and Kaepernick came in and never relinquished the job.
I think, didn't we? Was it a? I think we lost, right? Or was it a tie?
It was a tie. Shout out to CG and shout out to Ty Austin. It was a tie. He came in, he lit it up, he ran all over the field. I think he had a really big touchdown, but we tied the game. Niners and the Rams tied. I think we've tied 3 times in franchise history, if I'm correct. And yes, everybody was mad. I mean, everybody was mad. I was mad that we lost Alex Smith, but the way Kaepernick was playing, I was like, hey, this guy might be able to make some noise. We might be able to do something here. But when he tied the game, that was definitely not the right way to start off. And then, the next game after that, I think the next game he played the Bears, and he just totally tore the Bears up. But that was his official start. All right, so let's look at this one.
Oh man,
Oh God.
this game life.
I think
I want
this is
this-
a picture. No.
Go ahead.
That picture, I think that's the picture. I thought it was that picture, the first one he showed. I thought that was the one where he's calling Karachi.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah,
That's this picture, the NFC Championship game. You never try me with a sorry receiver like Crabtree. That's
Yeah.
that picture.
he's like, I'm the best corner in the world and stuff. Yeah, I remember that.
That's the picture right there where I said, I wish somebody punched Sherman in the mouth. And then my cousin sent me a video of when Trent Wayne was on Washington Redskins and punching Richard Sherman in the mouth.
Yeah, this is that moment. Erin Andrews, I think that's her name right here. She got to interview him. She wasn't expecting this. She just took it, and didn't just let him have what he wanted to say. And yeah, shout out to Richard Sherman. He definitely has some iconic moments against this team. This is another picture of him, and this is him actually in Santa Clara.
Yep.
And
Eating a turkey on our symbol.
this
That's
is the
why
moment. This is the moment, Korey. This is the moment that made me really, really hate Sherman. I did not like Sherman. I wanted the Niners to beat Sherman. I thought the Seahawks were juicing. I was, whatever, Legion of Boom. They're cheating. Something's wrong with them. It's over this picture, I believe. I really, truly believe it. And
this is what makes me on Thanksgiving want to win our game against them, so we could go eat turkey on their symbol.
yes. This moment right here, we're hopefully this year we can get revenge. We can go up to Seattle. We can eat turkey on their emblem. And if it happens, hey, I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. I'm just gonna be happy. It's one of those times. It's like I don't even like watching football on Thanksgiving anymore. When the Niners are playing, I don't. Not because of this. This is that moment. It's like I don't even look at a drumstick anymore, a turkey leg anymore the same way. This is that. Until we can take it back, turkey just doesn't sound good to me anymore. I'm sorry. The one thing I can say about Thanksgiving this year is we have the late game, so we can eat turkey in the morning, or I don't know how many people eat it in the morning, but we usually have it pretty early. We have it usually before lunch, sometimes 11ish or so, and sometimes depending on whose house we go to, it'll be a little bit later in the evening. But this is the moment. I'm gonna eat turkey in the morning so I can have a good day and stuff, and then when the evening's over, I'll make sure I have one turkey leg left. If we end up being able to win the game, I'm gonna react it. I'm gonna enact the moment in my living room. I'm gonna stand on my carpet. I grab that turkey leg, and I have my Niner jersey on. It's gonna happen. And yeah, sure, man. Shout out to you. My uncle, he is a Packer fan, and the Packers have had their moments against the Seahawks as well. And he bought me and my wife both a Richard Sherman jersey when Sherman came to the 49ers. So I do like Sherman. When he came to the Niners, I was like, hey, the times are changing. Maybe this is like the Deon Sanders thing that's happening for us. I was really excited, but yeah, I'm still not over you eating the turkey. You guys, any thoughts?
I absolutely hate this picture. You know, it looks like Richard Sherman's enjoying that turkey leg a little too much. You know.
Yeah. And on our logo too, that's ew. Then he came to the Niners, and then, but that's whatever, man.
Well, I wanted to get into this because again, we've had some good moments and some bad moments in Niner history. More good moments than bad. I'd like to think, and I know that's for a fact. But with the reading of Kyle this morning and talking about the 49ers and not being able to, have enough enough numbers to go around and being confused because there might be 2 number 4s on the team. David, I think you said it best. There's 89 players, 89 numbers that are still available. So if somebody's got to double up on one, I think you can handle that. Let's bring in Deon. Hey, Deon.
How's it going?
Yeah.
Yo, what's up?
What's going on, karKast? Brian, everybody. Yeah, I was over here looking at pictures to remind us of the happiness and sadness of our organization, huh?
Yeah, Brian bringing the sadness out on us. The anger. Back.
Yeah, there's been some moments and stuff, but it really truly goes back to, like, again, what Kyle was saying. He just thinks we have too many retired numbers. And I'm thinking in my head, well, how many numbers did you get retired for the team? You haven't got anybody retired yet, so, and you haven't got anybody a Lombardi yet either. So is that what you're going to say next when we get number 6? It goes in its own individual case, because now that's yours. It's not the house that Kyle built. This house has been built already. So
yeah. Well, everybody knows how I feel about Kyle anyway. Next Andy Reid if he don't start winning Super Bowls around here. And that's my number one thing. I saw something that actually was a little that made me curious. There's a guy on Instagram. He was saying how the NFL is giving away the next 5 Super Bowls, and I'm like, yeah, here we go with this again, which is nothing because we all know how that works. But he did say that we were supposed to play the Jets and win. So, I'll take that. I mean, we know Aaron Rodgers can't beat us in the playoffs. It's not going to happen. So, not too mad about that. I saw the target.
That's my Super Bowl. That's my Super Bowl prediction.
Really? Jets versus Niners. Oh, boy, Jets fans are going to be really pissed off because they ain't been back since Joe Namath. And the closest they got was in recent history was with Mark Sanchez, and we all knew that wasn't going to happen. So
I was recently watching this rigged video, and it's about the mergers and AFL and NFL coming together. And they were saying how dominant the NFL was, and the AFL just wasn't doing anything. So when Joe Namath guaranteed that game, it's a little weird that, they stop a high-powered offense like the Colts that were scoring 30-something points a game, and they hold them to, 7 or 14.
Yeah.
So there's some noise, and Joe Namath, he's not going to come out. He's not going to say, but he's just happy to be Broadway Joe. So
he ain't guaranteeing nothing for nobody else. He guaranteed it for himself and made it happen. I mean, it definitely is. It's crazy. I saw the talk picture too. To be honest with you, I watched that thing in slow-mo about 1 million times, man. Look, the dude was going backwards. He didn't make the catch. He owned it. I respect Tart for that. Kyle Williams, may God bless you wherever you are. Definitely don't go anywhere near the bay. Just stay away. And that's for your own literal safety. And I mean that in the most genuine of ways. That dude literally, like, when he screwed up them 2 years in a row, it was like, yo, I think you need to go back to Arizona, bro, because you can't hang out here. We can't have that, because people were pissed and there were actual literal threats on his life, and that's not okay, especially not over a football game. But for his safety, he got up out of there because he was smart, saw the Sherm stuff. I mean, it's a love-hate relationship with Sherm. You love him because of how great he is, and when he plays, how smart he is and whatnot, but you hate him for the shit that he talks. It's the same thing. Like, I truthfully have a love-hate relationship with Shannon Sharp. I hate Shannon Sharp. I can't stand him as a player. As a person, he's probably super cool. Looks to be a very nice person. But as a player, he talked a lot of crap, and I hated it. Like, he really ran his mouth, and it just would drive me insane. So, it kind of is what it is. The turkey leg thing, yeah, he was going to do that, And what people forget about Richard Sherman is Sherman was not a DB in college. He was a wide receiver.
Yep.
They converted him to defensive back, but being a receiver in college gives you an advantage when you go into the NFL to be converted to defensive back. Why? Because you have good enough hands to be able to catch the ball. Also, you understand what a receiver is doing. You know what I'm saying? If there's one thing I can say about Shannon Sharp, his analysis of what you need to do and where you're going, and, the technical stuff for being a receiver is flat out amazing. Like, he'll say, like, he would be on there with Skip and say so many different things. And, yeah, he did. He backed it up, Terradome. You're 100% right. But, like, having that advantage is crazy. There's a young guy out there, man. His name's Al Young. I interviewed him a couple years back. He came out of HBCU, came out of Jackson State. I really don't know why this young man isn't on somebody's team. He is actually flat out amazing. His stats, his film. He was the same way, receiver, then turned into DB. Like, the kid's got way too much talent, and I just don't understand how all these cornerback needy teams just are like, we'll go with the guys we got. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to bring in a dude that's literally like another Richard Sherman, but faster, so he can actually keep up with the quick receivers. It's kind of weird. But
two things you kind of got me thinking. All right, first off, and we'll go around everybody to hear everybody's thoughts, but I think Sherman should have went to safety. I think he should have been free safety. I just think at the end of his career, he might not have been as fast, but he had the idea where to go with the ball, and he could direct traffic. He could
high football IQ, very high.
And the other thing I think is, like, you brought the point up about the wide receiver being able to play corner as well. Richard Sherman did that. And somebody who's screaming at me right now that I just got in my head, Deon Sanders did the same thing. He could play both sides of the field, and I think that's why he was so good. And
best two-sport athlete ever.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point you brought up there, because you look at Sherman, he did play for Stanford, and he did a lot of good. And the guy's tall, got good hands. And when they moved him to corner, it's like, hey, I know what you're doing on that side of the ball, and I have a little bit more time to relax because I'm watching you react. So, all right. So what's your thoughts on the Jimmy Garoppolo pick six, fumble, interception, whatever you want to call that? Dan Orlowski goof. Will it ever happen again, or how many years will we'll have to wait before it happens again? Because after I seen Deon Orlowski do it, I didn't think it was going to happen again. It was maybe a decade before that happened again. So,
yeah, Orlowski literally came on TV and told Jimmy to stay out of his lane. Like, he's fine with making fun of himself. Bo Jackson was dope, but he wasn't. The only reason I can't give Bo the nod over Deon is because he didn't have the longevity. He tore his knee up, and that derailed everything. But yes, Bo was fantastic as a two-sport athlete. Flat out. And those literally are the two fastest men in the NFL ever. And I can tell you, because people look and they're like, I've literally heard tales of both of them running 4.1, which is insanity. Deon literally didn't do anything at the combine but run the 40. And it literally was said he ran like Forrest, basically. He ran that 40 and ran right out the stadium. He didn't do anything else. So
did anyone get to see the injury for Bo Jackson, how he got injured?
I never got to see it. I just know he tore his knee up, and that was the end of his career. Honestly, I've never seen it.
I believe it was a hip injury. I could be wrong. He was in L.A. because he was a Raider, and I believe he broke his hip. I believe he broke his hip, and that's what caused him. And he was standing around, walking around, but he knew something was wrong and took himself out of the game. Could have been his knee, but I believe it was his
Oh,
hip.
yeah, right. Yeah, it says his 4-year football career ended abruptly in 1991 after he suffered a hip injury while being tackled during a playoff game against the Bengals. He was able to continue with his baseball career, but for a few years with an artificial hip, but would never return to his pre-injury form. So you are correct. I thought it was his knee all this time, but yeah, hip. Yeah, that's what got him versus the Bengals, and then he had to wind up having a replacement put in, but. You're never going to be the same with the replacement because your body just doesn't accept it to an extent. It does to an extent, but it's almost like, it's like putting something in your body that's not supposed to be there. Your body's going to attack it because it's like, yo, you don't, no, it's not supposed to be here. I need to kill this. It's just a natural thing. But, I mean, when I look at even looking at the Kaepernick situation, Alex Smith was supposed to start that following week. He cleared concussion protocol. Initially, when they said they were going to roll with Cap, I was like, okay, they feel good. It's the Bears. It's not a big deal. They're gonna, go out there try to get this W to whatever way they can to give Alex another week to rest. But then when they kept going with him, I was like, oh, okay, that's what we're doing. And it's not to say the Cap wasn't great because he's fantastic. He's got a better playoff record than some of these guys in the league. But the unfortunate issue is that wind up screwing Alex out of a job, and we did what we did with Montana, traded him over to the Chiefs and kept on pushing with Cap. I mean, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Cap will never play in the league ever again. I don't care what anybody thinks or what anybody says. At this point, it's not about fairness, bro. You screwed up when you had your opportunity, and it's a wrap. If you were smart, you would have told your girl to keep her mouth shut and not be involved, because he probably would have been a Baltimore Raven and being reunited with Greg Roman had his woman not put up that post, making it look like what I forgot to.
She said
Black Snake Moan or something like that, and she had Ray Lewis and look.
Yep.
Look, let me tell you this. I'm all for equality. I'm all for standing up for yourself. I'm all for, Black people making sure that they don't get lowballed and whatnot, all that stuff. But at the end of it was Django. You're right. Thank you, Terradome. At the end of the day, it's very simple. You got to learn how to play the game, man. You got to play the game, and you got to play it properly. And if you screw up and you don't play the game right, these people will do you what they normally do. I don't call it being blackballed. I call it being whiteballed, because ain't nobody black doing nothing to you. The people that's doing it are white, so that's just what I call it. And for me, you got yourself whiteballed from the league because your girl couldn't keep her mouth shut, and because you were a little too righteous. Now, see, some people will be like, "Oh, see, you bowing down, you this, you." No. What people don't understand is there are rules and regulations in the world. You must follow them, and you need to know how to play the game and make these things advantageous for yourself. That's the whole point of it. You're never here to do that.
It's so wonderful to be able to talk to somebody. I love all the guys on the panel here, and they're very knowledgeable. But when you get somebody else to come in sometimes, or when you're just talking in general, and you're talking to people who are reading the same thing or hearing the same thing that you're reading, I'm 100% same mentality. His girlfriend went to Baltimore, didn't go physically to Baltimore, but she put it on social media. Why do you want to play for a racist owner? They took the contract away from the next day. They took the contract. They said, okay, go try to play in Denver. You go away, right? Because he wanted to originally go to Denver, right? And the Niners didn't want to trade him to Denver for nothing. And he wanted too much money to go to Denver. And, we ended up sticking around. And then Kyle comes in, and Kyle's like, I don't know about all this turmoil you got around. You got a gray cloud around you right now. I can do something different. He chose Brian Hoyer over Kaepernick. That's
we all know that was, and to be From
But
what
it's
I heard from people was
personality or what was it? I mean, like Kaepernick and him just didn't gel, right? Same thing kind of with Tom Brady and Kyle. They didn't gel. So, okay, you're going to push somebody who can clearly win, who's a lot better of a player or an athlete than who you're going to put there as position. And then the whole thing with what Kaepernick did with the league, as far as he proved that there was collusion, was blackballed, but then he's still trying to get into the league. Okay, did they blackball you, or do you really want to play, or what's the deal? Because then what happened with him in Atlanta, he goes to Atlanta and says, I want to play. I want you guys to come and see me at the combine or at my training, my training video. And then I go and change where we're going to be at. We're going to be at Atlanta, the Atlanta Stadium, the Falcon Stadium. And
yeah, Mercedes-Benz Dome.
I think Korey said it was a college. I think he went to a high school stadium, field. It could have been college, but I think he went to a high school field a couple, miles away. And he told everybody, come here. They're like, we're already here, dude. We're not driving, we already got on a plane. He had 30 different NFL teams there to watch him.
And you know why he did that? All because he felt that the film crew, that they wouldn't let his film crew film anything. Yep. And that's why he was upset, because he felt like they were going to screw him again and film anything that looked bad. Because you know how the media is. They want to run with anything. Oh, look at Kaepernick. He's out of shape. Look, he missed this throw. He missed that throw. As if NFL quarterbacks don't miss throws. They do. But he kicked himself in the butt doing that last minute, and you didn't have very many options or opportunities. And he definitely wasn't going to go over there to Denver. I can tell you why. Because John Elway is a piece of trash. John Elway told people on his team, you kneel, you out. Same thing happened with Jerry Jones. You want to kneel before the game, but if anybody kneels during the national anthem, then the game is over. And you want them off your team. These are born and bred Southern folk. They don't play that. And you got to know and understand that when you do it. There are still certain places in the South I would never go. Why? I ain't supposed to be there. So why am I about to go challenge the status quo when I know I'm definitely the few versus the many? I'm not stupid.
Let's get into that too, because why did he start kneeling? He started kneeling because
and
was a vegan. He chose to become a vegan. He come into that training camp underweight. He came in with a shoulder injury and a knee injury. They had Blaine Gabbert starting over him because he wasn't showing what he was supposed to be showing in practice. Then the preseason game. The first preseason game, he was just on the sidelines. He wasn't doing anything. And then the next thing they said, well, because he was on the bench. He was sitting on the bench, and somebody came up to him and said, dude, that's not a good look. If you want to do something, maybe like kneel or something like that. So then he did that.
He spoke to that Army vet, and the Army vet was the one who told him, hey, if you kneel, that's – because, I mean, when you think about it, what he was taught in history class.
Real quick. He was sitting first on the bench.
Yeah, he was.
And said, this isn't right. What are you doing? It wasn't about police brutality. That's what it eventually became. But at first, it was about you're not starting. You're not starting. You're sitting on the bench. Everybody else is over there smiling. The camera's on. National anthem's happening, and you're pouting. And that's what everybody perceived is you're pouting. And then the next thing it came out, like you're saying, somebody talked to him, and then he started kneeling. And then it came out the pig socks and everything about police brutality and everything. And it's just like, okay, nobody can help you. If this is direction you're going to go, no one can help you.
Yeah, it's like you made your bed, you're going to have to lay in that. And I mean, was it right how the league did him? No. But was he smart in his approach to trying to get back in? Not at all. And I mean, it kind of is what it is, because the situation literally looks like, and it brought out some true colors about some people, that you didn't know. I mean, I'll take it back to the whole situation with Riley Cooper. You know what I'm saying? And him being at the little country concert and saying what he said. The whole locker room forgave him. And the only person that didn't forgive him was Shady McCoy. And Shady looked at him, he said, I know who you are now. Thank you for showing me who you are. And he left it alone. He was just I'm not.
What's your thoughts on the whole John Gruden situation? How many emails came out? He's the only one who got in trouble for it.
Gruden was a fall guy. They needed a fall guy, and that was the dude. None of these owners are about to take an L like that. We all know Robert Kraft was wrapped up in child trafficking charges. We know that for a fact. That stuff came out. You see, Robert Kraft still has a team, don't he?
Mm-hmm.
These owners are not about to take that L. Dan Snyder should have been sold the whatever they're called now, because they have to change their name. They can't be the Commanders anymore because somebody literally owns that name. And if they keep using it, they're going to have to pay them. So like Snyder keeps getting hit left and right. You had to change the name from the Skins. Then you have all these things coming out about you that are negative, all the harassment, all that stuff. Man, look, Gruden was a fall guy. Am I condoning what he did? Not by any stretch of the imagination. Nope. I don't think what he did was right. I'm just telling you. They looked and they was like, who gonna take the L for this? But ain't gonna be us. All right, John, you gotta take this L. Call it a day. And he's still getting paid.
So
they still gotta pay him. So
the reason I bring it up, and I want everybody else to get into this as well. I know me and you are talking, but the reason I bring it up is, do you know where John Gruden is now?
I have the faintest idea.
Saints.
Where, Corey? Where?
With the Saints.
Really?
He's
defensive
quarterback coach. Hey, whose quarterback coach is he, Corey?
He's
Derek Carr.
Derek Carr.
Wow.
So what did they do? They separated him from the Raiders because the Raiders were on a verge of up and down. What's were the Raiders really making a stride forward, and then they just demolished the team again? And then why are you going to let him back into the league if he said all that stuff that was so horrible? Because he sued the NFL too. He sued the NFL too, and boom, So
well, that's why he sued, because he knew like when I saw what happened, everybody was saying, "Oh, look how bad!" And I was the first person out there to a lot of people telling them, "Y'all not paying close attention. Y'all got the wool pulled over your eyes. This dude is a fall guy. Yes, what he did was egregious. It was messed up, whatever you want to call it. It's not right. But at the end of the day, these owners do stuff all the time and get away with it. Jim Irsay is one of the worst owners in the league. This dude be over there drunk, cracked out, coked out, whatever you want to call it. He be high, okay? His eyes be bloodshot red. We all have seen this, okay? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I jokingly say this, but I believe Jerry Jones is never going to leave this earth until the Cowboys finally win the Super Bowl. I think that's the only reason that man is alive. I feel like if the Cowboys won the Super Bowl, Jerry Jones will lay down, not wake up, and be perfectly fine. You know why? Because they got one, and that's it.
He'll lay down and say, "How about them boys?" and go to sleep.
He would, and go to sleep and fall asleep and pass like everybody else would want to pass. You just go to sleep, don't wake up. No agony, no pain, no turmoil. He could just be happy that there's a 6 Lombardi in that case and call it a day. There would never be an issue. But it just, there's certain people in the league, man. Yeah, bro, I've seen too many pics of this dude. I mean, and think about it. Look at these executives. Look at these owners. They do a lot, bro. Like Jed York is probably the squarest owner of all of the owners out there. You know what I'm saying? Outside of maybe like a Shad Khan or something like that. I mean, and look at the dude in Houston. The inmates are running the asylum. How do you still have a team, sir? How do you still have a team? They made homeboy from the Clippers sell his squad right away when it came out what he was saying. So you can say the inmates are running the asylum, and that's not egregious enough for you to be removed. So Mr. McNair gets to keep his team, but Donald Sterling got to sell his.
What about the lady? And I think David knows this one. What about the baseball lady from Cincinnati? What about the owner?
Okay, yeah, Dave, talk. Your eyes got real big when he said that.
She's an older lady, but she actually, the things she said, it's like, you have no business being in sports. Like, sports, look at all your players. Look at everybody involved. If you have any sort of racism going on, you have no business being involved in sports whatsoever. I honestly believe that you should be on an island in the middle of the ocean somewhere.
Because you already know, like, the issue is the league is what, 70-75% black? If I'm not mistaken, it's pretty large a number.
NFL,
majority of the league is African American. Period. I mean, you're gonna have your white people in there. You're gonna have probably a few Hispanic people. I think we've got like a couple Asian people here and there, but I think that's only just that kicker from Atlanta, Young Ko-ho or something like that. Like you've got like a mix of other people, but majority is black. Look at the NBA. What is that? Majority is black. But the thing is, you got to like the one thing I tell people is don't be surprised when you hear these things. Look at how old these people are. Look at the times they came from. A lot of people who age get ornery and stuck in their ways. The job that I do, I talk to people all the time. And believe you me, man, I literally will try to get somebody just to go online for something simple. They will tell me to mail it. They would rather wait on the United States Postal Service 7 to 10 days before they get whatever they need. Like it, some people are just stuck in their ways, man. You know what I'm saying? And oh snap! I didn't know she said that.
Yeah, that's why. And I didn't.
Yo, you can't be the owner of a squad no more.
No.
Wow.
And the reason I brought it up because David's really, Dave. You talk to David all the time. David knows sports, and David, a little bit further back east than I am. Closer to Cincinnati, and I know the lady. I know what she looks like. I just couldn't say her name. It was like not even on the tip of my tongue. I just knew she said that. And me being the killer I am, I don't talk like that. I don't talk like that to anybody. And you guys have all seen my wife. She's white and redhead, right? But her mom's Filipino, and you can't tell that by looking at her. You stand her next to her mama, you're like, hey, who's that island lady? And shout out to my mom, mother-in-law, beautiful lady, beautiful, wonderful lady. But she's Filipino. And, you can't tell that, by her daughter standing next to her. So sometimes, well, you can. When they both smile, you can tell that their daughter, and, that's.
Like there's something distinctive. I mean, hey, look at me. I have a great grandmother who was French, German, and Irish. I took her to the movies when Seabiscuit came out because she wanted to see it. And I didn't know, but she told me, she was like, your great grandfather bet on that horse and that's how we survived. I was like, what? She's like, yeah, he bet a ridiculous sum of money. And I was pissed. But when he came home with those winnings, I had nothing to say. And I took her to, I worked at a movie theater in Palos Verdes. So I took her to them because I could get people in for free. So I took my grandmother and my great grandmother and told them, I said, hey, this is where I'm at. Come to the movies. Don't even worry about paying for it. I got it. So she comes in. I take her in, make sure she gets seated and everything, go right back to work. And everybody's like, oh, man, that's really nice that you did that for that little old lady. I'm like, it's my grandmother and my great grandmother. What are you talking about? And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, that's family. That's my mother's mother and her mother. They were like, okay. I mean, that used to happen to me on a consistent basis because I would help my great grandmother out because she was older and there wasn't nobody living with her. My great grandfather had passed, and people would look at me and just think I was being a good Samaritan. But I'm like, no, this is my family, so there's no. I'm not being a good Samaritan. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. But it happens like that, man. People come from different backgrounds and whatnot. So it's crazy. You do one of them little Ancestry or 23andMe's and you find out that you all over the damn world and be confused about your life after that. But I mean, looking at all those pictures you showed, man, and Jerry's my favorite 49er of all time. Deon's my favorite NFL football player of all time. I just loved his style. I loved his swag, and I love the way he carried himself. He was just a dude. I ain't gonna talk about nothing. I'm just gonna go out there and shut you down on the field. I don't need to say anything to you. I mean, recently him and Andre Rison opened up about how they wound up being, fighting and everything. They literally, Rison was just hurt. Like, yo, bro, you rolled out on us. What's the deal? Like, why would you do that? And they hash things out and everything. We all know Andre Rison, was about to be married to Left Eye. She burned his damn house down because he was out there doing things he wasn't supposed to do. Like, man, it's crazy. But I'll say this. If Brock Purdy is healthy, everyone, he's a starter. I know a lot of us like Trey Lance. I know we all want to see him. Let it go. The only reason I'm saying let it go is because Kyle made his decision. He could care less about Trey Lance's existence. It means nothing to him. He never wanted him in the first place. I stand on that because it's just not who he is. He's
Here's
never liked it.
here's a good question, and let's start with David. We'll go karKast, Korey, and then we'll go you, Deon. I'll jump in
Sure.
somewhere. But would you rather see Trey Lance get an opportunity to go somewhere and start, win or lose, but go somewhere else and start, or be a forever backup on the 49ers? Let's go with David.
Dave's face.
Oh man, I would honestly rather see him get an opportunity somewhere. You know, I would rather that opportunity be with us though, because of how high his ceiling is. You know, and I mean, this is all on Lynch and Shanahan, the whole situation.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you take a guy that you know is a developmental project that has an incredibly high ceiling on a win now team?
Mm-hmm.
Hello, you know.
Yep.
This whole issue was caused by them. And should we have traded up to the 3 pick to get him? Maybe, maybe not. Should they have picked that Michael McCorkle Jones? No, I don't think so. No. I don't think he's that. I honestly don't think he's that good. He's been in the league a couple years, hasn't done much with the Patriots. So when it comes down to it, you know, yeah, I would like to see him get his opportunity if it's not going to be with us, but I would rather it be with us.
Yeah, karKast, your thoughts? Do you would you rather see Trey Lance go to another team and get to start and play, win or lose, succeed, you know, however it happens, or would you rather see him just forever stay a 49er backup and, you know, somehow, some way, hopefully he gets on the field?
Yeah, it's a tough question, but I would probably have to. He ain't no getting opportunities here, man. You see what Kyle does with him when he steps on that football field. He's not using him. He's using him as a running back. I would love to see him go to a different team and produce. I think he would like it personally for his own well-being as well. We traded up with the Dolphins, gave up a lot of draft picks, 3 firsts and a third, and like David said, like this guy had 1 year, got redshirted, and then, you know, got him with the 3rd overall pick. Didn't have much playing experience in college either. Played 1 year, through 1 pick, I think, whatever it was. But he's coming in, man. It's not his fault. You know, he's being run into the ground, gets injured after week 2 against Seattle. Like, personally, you know, a lot of Niner fans may come at me for this, but I know, you know, if it's in the NFC, I wouldn't like it. But if he goes to AFC or any other team, I think it's just better for him, man. We're ruining him here. You know, we're running him into the ground. We're not playing him to his full potential. So, you know, just why keep him as a backup, man? This man's been doing everything to improve in the offseason. Training with Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, all these guys, you know, training with Kittle at tight end, and you're gonna keep him on your bench. You're gonna keep all that potential just sitting on your bench. Like, I don't see why maybe Kyle does that, you know. His ego's gonna catch up to him. But personally, I wouldn't do that. I would put Trey Lance in a place where he's gonna have the best chance to succeed. So that's just me.
All right, Korey, what do you think? Would you rather him go somewhere else and get to start, you know, and then you know, again, maybe just like turn the whole franchise over to him? Like, we're investing in you the way the Niners should invest in him here. And like David brought up a good point, you know, like we're a win now team. We don't really have the time to wait. We know what it's going to take. You know, we know there's going to be growing pains, and we're just not really ready to do that. So would you rather see him go to another team, or, you know, us keep him here and not utilize him?
I'm like David. I want him to really succeed with us, but to give the man, be fair, give the man that opportunity, go to another team and work out. But I would like to see it with us, and because I love Trey Lance, but I know, like Deon says, Brock Purdy is the guy. But I like Brock Purdy. Don't get me wrong. There's no hate on Brock Purdy, but I just wish we could have gave Trey Lance a more opportunity, a more chance. I wish they made this a quarterback competition between Trey Lance and Brock Purdy. But like said, Kyle already got in his mind that Trey Lance, that Brock Purdy should start. It is what it is.
I'm gonna jump in real quick before you, Deon, because I know you're gonna have a minute. I like Trey Lance, and the reason I brought this question up, when we were looking at the quarterbacks and stuff, you guys have heard me before say, I believe they were going for a veteran, but we ended up going for Trey Lance. And the night before the draft, it was going to be Aaron Rodgers. That didn't happen. But before all this, the speculation and stuff, and like David made it true and said it, we're not going after Mac Jones, DUI belly. We're not going after a guy with a keg. We're going after a guy with a six-pack. We're not going after a guy who's carrying a six-pack. We're going after a guy who has a six-pack. That's one of those things. Like it goes way back. You can look at Steve Young. Steve Young drank milk in the locker room. He's not a DUI guy. Antonio Brown, 2005, 2006, we let him go because of the DUI, wide receiver. So it's not something that the Niners want to fool around with. They have some maybe they got some family issues with that, and that's why they stand so strongly on it. But they don't want that kind of attitude. You look at it, and the reason I'm bringing this question up too is I've talked to 49er fans that have literally told me they'd rather lose a Super Bowl with Brock Purdy than
win it with Trey Lance. Mm-hmm.
I'm like, no, or just backwards, basically. Lose a Super Bowl with Trey Lance, then win it with Brock Purdy. And I'm like, if you get to the Super Bowl and you're rooting for the Niners to lose, regardless if it's Blaine Gabbert, Tim Rattay, JT, whoever you want to say. If the Niners are in the Super Bowl, I don't care if it's Josh Johnson at quarterback. I'm rooting for the Niners to win the Super Bowl. That's almost, so for people to say like, he's got to start. Well, yes, he has to start. So if the team, will just go straight in on him, I'll accept it. I'm not going to be happy, it's losing and stuff, but if they would have done it at the beginning, if they would have pulled the scab off, instead of saying, oh, we're going to stick around with Jimmy, we're going to try to trade him. Don't worry about how much you're going to get for him. Let him go. I don't care. It's like the whole thing with Nate Sudfeld thing. They paid him $3 million for nothing. You could have done that with Jimmy. You could have just let him go. We could have already had our redshirt year with Trey Lance, but the problem again, he broke his finger in preseason. So then they got all scared because now he can't throw the ball. And the whole thing too with the team is they want to change the offense a little bit. And when he's not performing the way the offense is being changed to, then everybody says, well, he just needs to run the Jimmy Gimmies. No, he doesn't, because the offense is going to be expanded with him. He's going to open up the offense. So to put him back into the situation where he's running the Jimmy Gimmies, that's not why we brought him in. We didn't bring him in to run Jimmy Gimmies. We brought him in to expand the offense. So I don't want to see him go anywhere else. I would like to see the Niners go in with him. I thought about it last year, and I said, well, maybe if they win the Super Bowl at Brock Purdy, they put Brock Purdy over to the side, and you put Trey Lance in, and say, hey, we won the Super Bowl. Now we're going to give this guy a shot. So my thoughts is give the guy the shot, give him a shot, and go through it. Go all in. Growing pains, whatever. You say you're going to win 10 games, lose 10 games. It doesn't matter. You're the quarterback from week 1 to week 17 or week 18. If you're injured, then yeah, you can't play. But if you're healthy, play. That's the only way he's going to get a start here. And I don't see the team doing that because they got too much pride or pressure right now on their backs, because we've been to how many NFC championship games and Super Bowls in the last 10 years, and we don't have any rings or Lombardis. That's my thought. I'm going to pass it to you, Deon. Let's hear your thoughts, and we'll go around.
For me, it's simple. I'd rather him go elsewhere and get a chance to start. He's never going to start here. Trey Lance is only going to play if Brock Purdy winds up getting injured again, or if he can't go in the beginning of the season. And if he can't go in the beginning of the season, they'll put him on the PUP, try to activate him about week 4. And if Lance goes out there and performs and we don't start slow like we normally do under Kyle Shanahan, then what will happen is they'll look and say, hey, we've got a good piece of trade bait. Let's see what people are willing to offer us. Now the 49ers are very stubborn when it comes to giving up players for less than what they got them for. But at the end of the day, nobody's giving you 2 firsts for Trey Lance. There's not enough film on the kid for them to do that. And I wouldn't do it. I'd tell you straight up, like, no, I'm not giving you 2 firsts. I don't even know what he is. Do I have faith in him? Do I think he can be something? Yes, but I ain't seen it on the field, and you never gave him an opportunity. So you want me to give up my draft picks, my number 1 draft picks to you? And first of all, 49ers, y'all don't need number 1 draft picks because your first round picks, your first and second, possibly even third round picks have sucked the last couple of years. Under the Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch regime, our draft picks in the first couple of rounds, they don't look so good. So my thing is, why do you need a first round pick? You ain't gonna do them to screw the pick up anyway. Like this is just how it works. So honestly, I've said this before. If he needs to go somewhere, why not put him over there in Washington with Eric Bieniemy? Bieniemy turned Mahomes into a star just as much as Andy Reid did. So why wouldn't Trey Lance be the same type of dude? And the other thing is, let the man run the same offense. And people out there that are trying to turn a blind eye to the fact that there was a different offense for Jimmy and Brock than there was for Trey are just, come on now, you got to wake up and smell the coffee. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup. But it's a reality. I'm telling you, you got to be smart about it. There you go. So it's just, for me, I'd rather him go elsewhere and get himself a shot to start. I do believe he is a starter in this league, and I believe that he's actually going to be great. I believe this will be that one player that we let go and we're like, shouldn't have done that. Definitely shouldn't have done that. Because I can tell you, look at it like this. I'll give you a scenario. You can run with this how you want to run with it. Next year, Kyle's man crushes on the market. He is openly stated, I ain't coming back to Minnesota no more. I have told people for years and years, Kirk Cousins will never win a Super Bowl. He is about his money. He pads his stats so he looks good enough for people to want to pay him. He ripped off the Vikings. He was good. What franchise quarterback do you know that's comfortable with being franchised 2 years in a row? He put up no fuss. He put up no fight. He just went out there and played for the Skins and did what he had to do. And then he went on to the Vikings and ripped them off. And now he looked at them and said, I ain't coming back. I'm good. So my thing is, what happens if the season is a wash? So Brock Purdy comes back to reality and all those things were not there. You know what I'm saying? And everybody's like, oh, man, we screwed up now. We put all this faith in this kid, and now he doesn't look as good as he used to. Because he's going to lose a game, people. We're not going undefeated. Sorry. Come back to reality. Brock Purdy will lose a game. It's going to happen. Every NFL quarterback has. There's not an undefeated NFL quarterback that's in the league or been in the league. And if he is, he probably only played 1 or 2 games, played a small amount of time. I would rather see him. I mean, come on now. It's simple. I will always stick to this. He never wanted Trey Lance. He wanted someone else. Honestly, if Trevor Lawrence would have been there at 3, he would have taken Trevor Lawrence. Kyle likes his quarterbacks that way. He just does. He doesn't care for black quarterbacks. They didn't want RG3. Why do you think they went and got Kirk Cousins? Because the owner wanted RG3. Yeah. Kyle said Kyle's dream quarterback at this present time is Josh Allen. Josh Allen would be a wonderful, wonderful welcome sight. You know why? He's got a cannon for an arm. He can make the short throws. He knows how to run properly so he doesn't get hurt. He's got everything that Kyle wants. Trey Lance is not the guy that Kyle wanted. Trey Lance is the guy Kyle had to settle for. And that's in his mind. That's what it is. Because if you think about it, go back to the beginning. We let Cap go because Kyle basically said, look, man, I don't really know what to do with you. It's going to be an open competition. And if you don't want open competition, hey, you can, don't let the dough hit you where the good Lord split you. And Cap said, appreciate that. I'm out. but you still had two really good quarterbacks in that draft. Now, nobody really knew a lot about Patrick Mahomes, and people were skeptical, but he was still being talked about. Everyone knew who Deshaun Watson was. We didn't pick neither one of these cats. We thought we was going to skate through the season with Brian Hoyer, who helped us set an NFL record for most losses by less than 3 points. No, we decided to go with him. Then we have to settle for Jimmy because your man crush is already gone. You're not getting him. Then he's not becoming available. And then now here we are, still trying to figure out who's going to be the starter. So it's a lot, but honestly, Trey, your best bet is take your cell phone over to the DMV. Go to Chocolate City, hang out with Mr. Bieniemy, and believe your career will skyrocket. You got Terry McLaurin, who I think is a little bit faster than Danny Gray. So the bombs you like to throw, by all means, you got someone to catch those passes, all those things. But I just feel bad for the kid, man. Feel bad.
I'm not advocating. I don't think anyone here is advocating to trade him. Trade Trey Lance. I think everybody wants to see him, produce, see him, get out there and try. And I think you and everyone here is making good points. If Trevor Lawrence would have been available, Jacksonville wouldn't have picked him. I think he would have came to the Niners. I really think he's probably the best quarterback in the draft at the time. I think Justin Fields was a really good shot. They really liked him, but they backed away when they found out the seizures. They did. They backed away. Mac Jones, I think Kyle did like Mac Jones, but the DUI, somebody told him no. And he got mad. I think he truly got mad.
I feel like that was Jed. I feel like Jed finally, stood up and said, I got to say something. No, you are not about to draft Jimmy 2.0 and waste my damn money and waste all my picks on a guy that's literally the same person that you had. No, you're not doing that. Pick someone else. And when he saw Lawrence go and then Wilson go, he didn't have a choice. It was Lance or Fields. Now, Fields, I'll give him credit. He is a fantastic runner, great runner. But the issue is you still got to be able to decide. Oh, my God. Please. Terradome, I'm going to need you to stop, man. Because, I didn't even want to say what happened. But Solomon Thomas, do you know that our scouts literally quit because that Kyle and John were not listening to them? Those scouts in that year quit because they told him. There was a specific scout that came out and said straight, I don't remember his name, but he said straight up, I told them he was not a good fit for this system. He was not the guy. Don't draft him. Go elsewhere. Do something different, but not him. And there's nothing against Solomon Thomas. He's just saying, you pay me to do this work. You pay me to look at these cats. So I go look at them, come back with an analysis, and you can't trust the fact that I'm telling you the truth, and you want to go ahead and make bonehead decision anyway? Good job. Now, where's Solomon Thomas? I don't know. Last time I checked, he was with the Raiders. But after that, I don't know. Like, there's things that it just, it's not going to work. And is this your brother, Tony, in the chat?
No, Tony, my wife, man.
Oh, Tony. Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. You know what? I should have paid attention. It was the I. It was the I, man. It was the I that I didn't catch. I forgot the Y and the I is signifying which is which. So sorry about that.
You got to go check out Ladies of the Empire. She's got a channel.
Oh.
Yeah, she's got Gina on it. Okay. She's got Jess from Niners East Coast Red and Gold. Bags. She's got Dina Harvey on the channel and Peachy Brown. So they have a show every Thursday now. And
the game is over. I need to be watching this because I love it when I love it when the ladies get involved because they know stuff. People out there don't think that, at least from our fan base. Our fan base, the women will know football. They will speak. They will understand it. You know what I'm saying? My wife is really, really smart with football. She didn't watch much anymore for her own general purposes. I'm not going to air that out. But I can sit down with her and watch a football game and she's not going, what's happening? Like, she knows exactly what the fuck is going on. She knows. So shout out to your wife, man. Once again, I'm so sorry. I will watch.
And you were clever too, because if it's an I, it's a girl. G-I-R-L.
Yes, I
Girl.
didn't think about that.
It's a guy.
That didn't translate right away.
You're
But
fine.
yeah, no, that's a good point. Very good point. She said Kyle can, said he could win with Trey and Brock this season. But I'm just gonna. I know enough about Kyle over the years. Kyle is going with Brock if he's healthy and he's ready. That's it. And I'm one of those people, like I shut Kaepernick fans down a long time ago because I loved Cap when he was here and I thought he was a good quarterback and I always thought he deserved another chance. But what I did was I reality checked everyone who kept complaining. I'm like, I don't care what you – at the end of the day, man, it's like this. It's like saying, I hate this tattoo I just got. Go get laser. That's all you can do. If you don't want to go get laser, can't complain about it. It is what it is.
I'm gonna say this real quick. I gotta check the girls, but I'll be back in a second. But the whole thing with the Zach Wilson thing, the Trevor Lawrence could have been it, but the Niners tried to get Sam Darnold early before all this draft capital and stuff.
Yeah.
They offered the Jets a number one. Well, the Jets were locked in on Zach Wilson. They were locked in on Zach Wilson, and the Niners like Zach Wilson. So it's really interesting because the Niners were trying to move up, but the Jets wouldn't budge off of 2. We moved
they weren't.
And then they weren't telling us who they were going to get. And then it came out it was going to be Zach Wilson. But we still weren't sure. So it's interesting because we were willing to give up a number one, but the Jets weren't willing to let Darnold go because they weren't sure if Zach Wilson was going to be decent or not. And it's a small world. It's funny how it comes back. David, let me throw it to you so you can get some stuff out. I know you've been quiet for a minute, and I'll be back in one moment. I got to check the girls. I apologize.
Well, honestly, I don't know if Kyle actually wanted Zach Wilson. And he only had one productive season. Trey Lance only really had one productive season. It was just one of those things. You're kind of picking your poison. On top of that, look at what Zach Wilson has done so far. He's benched. He's sitting behind Karen Rodgers. It's like, well, what's he gonna do now? What? That's an interesting situation over with the Jets.
He's gonna keep sleeping with
honestly
his
not
mother's
my
friends.
problem. That's
That's what he's gonna do. He's gonna sleep with his mother's friends as much as he possibly can. That's exactly what he's gonna do.
Man, when that story came out, I was like, I was going, you got to be kidding! Like, there comes a certain point in time where you got to respect your friend, and that's not respecting your friend.
Hey, bro, look, I'm gonna tell you right now, man. When I saw that, I was like, wow, like this is some movie type stuff. Who does that? Like
It
I don't
really
care.
is.
You can't walk into your homeboy's house. I mean, now generally you could look and be like, hey, yo, man, all due respect, man, your mom hot. You could say something like that and get away with it. But you can't act on that. There's rules. Like, no, you don't do that, bro. You don't do that. And when he did that, I just feel like, unfortunately, the Jets is a disaster franchise. They really are. They always have a solid defense and never no offense. Ever. They just don't. They had the most fit offensive lineman I've ever seen in my life in DeBrickashaw Ferguson. He didn't look like a typical O-lineman. DeBrickashaw Ferguson just looked like he was just a big, solid guy. He wasn't fat. He wasn't, you didn't see his gut hanging over. He wasn't always on a knee. He was just, Terradome, I need you to stay out of my head. It's not safe in there. But he put it in the chat, American Pie. Why? Because crazy things like that happen in that movie. Like, it's the worst. But honestly, I can't wait for training camp to be here. I really am anxious. Defensive back is my favorite position. I want to see what these DBs do under Steve Wilks. I truthfully am amped up. I think that Darrell Luter Jr. is going to do good. I think Sam Womack can be a superstar. I think Jair Brown is going to be flat out disgusting. Like, I really am expecting this defensive backfield to just have an explosion of talent that is just undeniable. And God forbid anyone goes down, but if someone does, I feel like we just keep going. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think Mooney. I'll say we probably stick with the same starters, Mooney and Demo. That's not gonna change. It's that slot DB. That's where that competition is gonna be. I think we got Oliver, and a lot of people are saying Oliver's there. Oh, she's so adorable. She
Got
is
that
too cute.
pillow head hair right now. But
Yeah, that's how it is. Kids when they wake up, their hair is everywhere. But she's beautiful, man. Beautiful little
Hey.
girl. I got 3 girls, so believe you me, man. Number one, I'll tell you this. Number one thing I tell all my girls, and they all understand it, and all of them have appreciated me for it. You don't need makeup. You don't need it. You're already beautiful without it. And believe you me, they literally they'll wear it on occasion, but as an everyday thing, nah, they ain't waking up putting on a face. They're good. But honestly, man, I think these DBs are going to be in for a treat being coached by Will. I think they're going to have the best of times. Like, I think this is going to probably be the big talk. I think everybody's going to get lost in the sauce with, what Wilkes is doing versus even the quarterback situation. Because everybody knows, I'm going to tell you right now, everybody knows that Sam Darnold ain't beating out Trey Lance. Like, let's stop it. The people out there hoping for that, I don't know why you want it, but it's not going to happen. But I think that it's literally going to be a situation where all they're doing is amping up, ramping Brock up bit by bit, week by week, little by little. If they could get him in a preseason game, they probably would love to do so to just knock off a little bit of the rest before the season starts. And I think they move forward, man.
All right. Well, I appreciate everybody coming on. We've had a lot of good fun. I'd like to come on with a couple topics, a couple thoughts, and get everybody's thoughts. And again, it's just something fun. We don't have to be politically correct or statistically correct. We're fans, and we're using our brains to think of what's happened and come up with the best way to say it. And sometimes again, you don't say it necessarily correct. That's why we're friends and we're not nailing each other. And Deon, you're always welcome. Appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
Everybody here, really glad you guys jumped on. It's almost 11. I think we should probably jump off here. I know a little bit different times for everybody else. I don't always want to go 2 hours. Don't mind going 2 hours. But when you have a good thing going, you don't want to break it up. But again, sometimes it's time to just end it on a good moment. So I think we should go around the table one last time, and everybody should say, okay, obviously the first catch is the best catch, right? It's what made it. So I want your opinion. Is the second catch or the third catch your favorite? And tell me why. And let's start with Korey, and we'll finish with Deon.
Well, I witnessed all 3 of them. I was there for all 3 of them. So it's hard for me to say because I love all 3 of them. It got me all excited. All 3 of them made me excited.
That's good.
It's the best because I loved all 3 of them.
All right. Well, then, if you don't want to decide between one of them, tell us a moment for the last 2. Give us a good moment for the last 2. Like you remember where you're at barbecuing, or like what you're doing.
Well, for all 3 of them, I was at home watching it on TV, and I remember for the Saints when I did jump up, and I was in for Vernon Davis one, plus for Vernon Davis. I guess for both of them, Terrell Owens and Jerry Rice. I mean, not Jerry. Terrell Owens.
Vernon Davis, yeah.
Because especially when Vernon Davis cried, he walked over to his coach. His coach gave him a hug. He was still crying about it. So it made me happy and a little sad. I said, "Oh, I feel for you, Vernon. I feel for you." That was the greatest moments. One of the greatest moments. But because I was at home jumping up with the Saints, with the 49 fans that was at the Saints game, jumping, like going, yes! And plus, when he scored, the Saints scored that last touchdown, and I said, "Oh, I was talking. Oh shoot, we finished." And then we made that catch. I was like, "Yahoo!" And my daddy came and said, "What you screaming about?" I'm like, "We won. We won." Yeah, we won. Vernon Davis made the last catch, the catch of number 3.
All right. karKast, do you have any thoughts on any of the catches? I know you're a little younger, but were you? I think I asked you already. Did you get to witness the catch 2 or the catch 3? The Vernon Davis, the Saints catch.
No, but I mean, I could tell you which one my favorite was. I think between the catch 2 and the catch 3, I'd probably have to go with the catch 2 with T.O. Catching in between both of those Packers players clamping down on him with 8 seconds to go in that 1998 wildcard game. That was really clutch by T.O. Making that catch right to his chest, perfect pass. Coming in clutch, and still we own the Packers. Always hate those cheese heads. We still own them in the playoffs, and that was just great to finish out like that and come out with the dub. So, and just the atmosphere, man, at Candlestick, that was just great. Have that happen for entire fan base, and I know To and that entire team hyped up after that. So
Did you know? Did you know that To was dropping all them balls before that catch?
yeah, that which was crazy, man. Dropping all that, and then last play of the game, you come up clutch like that's crazy.
Yeah. Mr. McNiner, what's your thoughts? I know, number 1 catch is number 1, but between 2 and 3, if you want to talk about 1, 2, that's fine. But between 2 and 3, do you remember where you were at, what you're doing, or how you felt, or anything you want to elaborate on that?
Well, when it comes to the To catch, yeah, he was messing up all game, and catching the ball and sending Brett Favre packing, there's nothing better than that.
Oh yeah.
And Vernon Davis, it was he'd been with us for a while, and it's like a signature moment for him. So I believe that team should have had a Super Bowl ring or 2, but there's nothing we can change that would make that happen, right? That's pretty much it.
All right, Mr. Deon, I'm gonna finish it out. So you bring me home.
I was only 1 when the first catch even happened. So, I mean, I went back and watched it, and whatnot. I was obviously available to watch, the catch 2 and 3. I got to say, all of them have great moments. And honestly, the catch 1 was so dope because you didn't really know where Montana was going with the ball. Like, nobody saw Dwight Clark back there. Like, it was like, where the heck did this dude come from to make this catch?
Yeah.
And the one with the one with Vernon and To is so similar because they both were up that seam, and both of them got lit up when they caught that ball. And the fact that they held on to it was flat out amazing. But I got to go with To, man. To is just he's like the most loved and hated wide receiver of all time. There are people out there that don't care for him. There are people out there that love him. And, for a man that grew up without a father, and the sad part was his father lived only a couple houses down from him. And he didn't find that out until he was like 15 or 16. Like, it's insanity. Yeah. But To, one of the greatest receivers of all time, that catch is iconic for me. And the fact that Steve Young threw it, I'm a lefty, he's a lefty. So, I got to roll with that second one, man. It was amazing. To did cry, and I mean, it's nothing better than sending Brett Favre's worthless self home. It's just it warms my soul when I watch the Packers lose. And as much as we continue to beat on them in the now times, and hey, if that guy's prediction is correct, and it's the Jets and the Niners in the Super Bowl, and we send Aaron Rodgers please, Aaron, go into a depression and retire. It's okay. You won't have to cry anymore because we didn't pick you, but you will submit to the will of the Niners. That's it. We are going to smash you if you come up against us in the playoffs. You know better than this. Now, the only thing for me is I don't know how the Jets going to get past the Bills. That's the real question. Buffalo ain't no joke, but the catch 2 for me.
All right. So, love it. I do. Yeah, I was a little young, couldn't see the catch 1. I've seen it multiple times. I got the book right here too. You know, so we're all into we're into it. But just because you buy something doesn't mean you know it, or it just means you are able to pay for it, right? But no, I got to see the catch 2. It was like the first game, I got to sit around my dad, and his friend, and actually get to watch, part of the guys, So when that happened, and my dad's friend was a Packer, so it made it even that much nicer. And we were at his house, but again, it's my first time, I don't trash talk and stuff like that. So when we won, I was really just off the ground, but I couldn't really, gotta keep it together. First off, you don't know how to react, and it's your first time with the guys, and if you act like a little kid, might not bring you back. So yeah, we won. I was very, very happy, and then it took a long time. It took a long time for us to kind of have that same. I don't know. I guess the next game after that, the closest moment would have been the Jeremy Shockey New York Giants playoff. That would have been the next closest thing to being something where we actually did something. So we went a very long time. And then here comes that catch 3. And just like you said, T.O. and Vernon Davis both get hit in the middle of the end zone, right in the middle, right in front of that goal post. And they both get creamed on the side, 2 guys coming in, both of them crying like a baby. And I never thought, of it really at that moment, men can cry. It's not a problem, men crying. But when they were crying like that, they weren't crying because they were sad. They were crying because they were happy. If you ever get the moment in your life, anyone listening or listening in the future, or, a family member gets that moment where you can see somebody, tears of joy coming out. There's truly nothing ever like that. And I don't know how many times you can experience that in life, if there's a cap or whatnot, but I've been able to experience that at one point. And yes, to be completely emotional and overwhelmed with joy and you're crying, hey, that's why we're human. We do bleed if you prick us. We do cry, we do laugh. And that's, why we sit down and watch the game as well, because we're fans and the game isn't guaranteed. Anything can happen. With that, guys, appreciate everybody for coming. We're going to do this again. We're here every Saturday and Sunday. We do coffee talk. You want to ever come in, just throw it in the chat and we'll ask your questions. We'll answer them. You keep coming in. You feel like coming on camera sometime, we'll try to bring you on camera. But this isn't normally my panel. We got a lot of good guys and a lot of good girls too. Deon, that's what I wanted to say as well. If you and your wife ever want to come on and talk, let's talk. We'll bring my wife on sometime. If your wife ever wants to make an appearance on the Ladies of the Empire, my wife does similar to what we do here, like a panel, and there's always a room. There's always room for somebody else to come. And if they don't want to be there every time, that's okay. There's always a seat if they want to come back. So with that, guys, thank you very much. Go check out Korey Davis tonight. He's going to have his award show tonight. Somebody went 15-0 in his trivia talk. And karKast, great guy. He's got a channel. Please check him out. Deon, Niner Gang Podcast. You can get him right there. You spell it just like how he's got it in his description. You can find him. David McNiner's got a channel. We're going to be doing things back and forth. Give him a sub if you can. And, again, if you like what you heard here, I would appreciate a sub as well. But with that, Korey, did you have anything else?
You said one person. 2 persons.
Oh, wow. 2 people got the trivia. That's one thing I suck at. I ain't gonna lie. I suck at Niners trivia. I only remember certain points. So, I kid you not. I swear to you, if they had a Niners Jeopardy, I would put Korey. Korey would be my guy. This dude literally is a walking encyclopedia of 49er information. I swear to you, I've never seen him fail on a question asked. So I would do that. But just have me on, fellas.
The last book we did was level 10 hard. Questions of the Niners from the 50s. It's how are you even supposed to know that? And then we switched to this book, and it's like, this
Bruh,
is like all fan card questions, except for there was one or two that wasn't fan card questions, but most of them were.
Yep, because when you think about it, I wasn't even born until 81. I don't know nothing about the 50s, except for what I look at in history. That's about as good as it gets. But appreciate y'all, man. Get out of here. Go get some food for the wife.
Appreciate everybody. Thanks for coming.
Hi,
Go
Deon.
Niners. And we'll see you guys again next time.
Go Niners and F the Lambs, of course.
And F all the teams.